Hello everyone, welcome to our program Magaalaa Minneapolis. In this program, we will cover social, economic, political, health, sports, and other issues. The program is presented to you once a month in the second week of the month, in partnership with OROMIA11 and the city of Minneapolis. In our previous episode, we discussed the city of Minneapolis Community Safety Center. In today's episode, we will discuss more on the progress. Joining me today is Amanda Harrington, Director of Community Safety Design and Implementation at the City of Minneapolis Office of Community Safety. Please join me in welcoming Amanda to our show and stay tuned for more. Mrs. Amanda, welcome to OROMIA11 and tell us a little bit about yourself and the work you do with the City of Minneapolis.
Thank you for allowing me to be here. As you said, my name is Amanda Harrington. I'm the Director of Community Safety Design and Implementation with the Office of Community Safety in the City of Minneapolis. I've only been with the city since December. Before that, I was a social worker and I've been an attorney, but my job now with the city is to build out the safety ecosystem, which is really a network of services and organizations so that we can help everybody be and feel safe.
Can you remind our audience what the Minneapolis Community Safety Center is?
Yeah, the South Minneapolis Community Safety Center will be located at 2633 Minnehaha Avenue. It will be home to safety services related to crime prevention, response, and restoration. So we'll have one entrance where people who want to make a police report or to speak to a police officer can go in, and a separate entrance for people that want other services. The police entrance will be open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The entrance for the other services will be more like office hours. We might have some services in that part of the building that are available on weekends or evenings. It will just depend on the service providers. But the idea is that people can come to this center and access multiple services in one place. We want this to be a place where service providers can collaborate, work together, and just in general, better coordinate and serve the city. We want people to feel welcome when they come into the site, and so the first person they see will not be a police officer. They'll be greeted by a 311 service center staff, and those staff can help them access information for the city, or they can connect them to other services that are in the building. We will also have a community meeting room, so people said that was really important, and they could use those for larger events, trainings, things like that.
Thank you again. Tell our listeners about the Lake Street Safety Center.
The Lake Street location is a smaller temporary location where community members can access some city services and some community services, still related to safety. So the Lake Street Safety Center is going to be located at 2228 East Lake Street. It's right next to the Hiawatha Light Rail Station. The center will open later this year, so we don't have too long to wait. And the hours will be Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Tuesday and Thursday from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. It'll be similar to the future Community Safety Center at 2633 Minnehaha in that when people walk in, they'll be greeted by staff from 311, our customer service agents. They can answer some general questions or connect people with other services in the site. We'll have some other city staff in the center, crime prevention specialists, some community navigators, a community city attorney, and then some community providers like the Lake Street Safety Coordinator, LEAD, which actually stands for Let Everyone Advance with Dignity. Minneapolis Police will have some small amount of service hours there, so people could come in, but it may only be like 3 hours a week. It'll also be a satellite office where Minneapolis Park Police can drop by between calls. The Lake Street social worker that works in that corridor can go in there. And then we'll also have staff from the behavioral crisis response team stay there between calls. They only respond to calls that are dispatched through 911, so people can't walk into the Lake Street site and make an appointment or just talk to one of the behavioral crisis response staff, but it'll be nice because we can keep them in South Minneapolis between calls.
How are those centers different from Minnehaha 3000 or Democracy Center at the old 3rd Precinct building?
The purpose of the buildings is very different. So the community safety centers are really focused on improving community safety. I talked about through services related to prevention, response, and restoration. They also work to increase coordination between safety service providers and collaboration with the city. The 3000 Minnehaha location, even though it is the old police precinct building, won't be focused completely on community safety. It's going to house the voting center along with some community services, but those community services may or may not specifically be safety services.
How did you and your team engage the community this spring?
We had over 40 opportunities to hear from community members who live, work, or visit in South Minneapolis. And we used a variety of methods to engage with community that included in-person events. We had a virtual event. We did neighborhood outreach by walking in communities, going to food shelves. We appeared on your show, for example. We did cultural media shows. And we did an online survey, which we had available in 5 languages: English, Hmong, Oromo, Somali, and Spanish. In total, we heard from more than 2,000 people.
What did you hear?
Well, we asked people about what services they wanted in both the Lake Street and the South Minneapolis Community Safety Center, but people really focused more about what they wanted in the permanent center at 2633 Minnehaha. The services that community members told us they valued most in the South Minneapolis Community Safety Center included affordable housing, mental health, substance use disorder, unsheltered homelessness, and youth. And then the community also told us they wanted access to community meals, to have a community meeting space, childcare for people utilizing the center, legal services, and medical services. We asked community members to tell us also what was missing from those, and so they also told us that domestic violence was important, and food security, and human trafficking. So we really asked people also just to give us more context. What did they mean by those different services? And so there's a full report that you can access online. You can go to our webpage to read that full report. And that address is minneapolis.mn.gov/community-safety-centers.
Thank you. How is your team using the input you got from the community?
Well, after the engagement sessions, we issued requests for information, what we call RFIs, for the services and resources that the community said they prioritized. The process allows community organizations to tell us how they think those services could realistically provide it at 2633 Minnehaha Avenue. And so they told us things like how much space they needed, or if they needed storage or funding to provide those services at the site.
Thank you again. So, what services can people get in the permanent location?
Well, when the center opens, we plan to have services for domestic violence, mental health, youth, and culturally specific community navigators. Those community navigators would really act as a bridge between community members and the police, or even the community, by building relationships, finding and connecting victims or community members to resources in the community. We also hope to have an organization that provides training and advocacy related to human trafficking. And that's really just phase 1. We plan on adding more services over time. We'll be collecting data so that we can understand how the center is used, the needs of the community, which may change over time, and we'll use all of that to make those decisions. New ideas might come along anytime during the process.
When will the permanent location open?
The South Minneapolis Community Safety Center at 2633 Minnehaha Avenue will be open, we hope, during the summer of 2025.
Thank you, Amanda. Will the temporary location close once the permanent one opens?
Not immediately. We have a 2-year lease on the Lake Street Safety Center location. We're trying to balance the needs of community and also being good stewards of taxpayer money. And so that 2-year lease keeps us within the budget that was allocated for that project.
Thank you again. What services can people get in the temporary location on the Lake Street?
There will be Minneapolis 311 customer service agents there Monday through Friday. And the other services might vary based on the day, but will include crime prevention specialists, community navigators, lead staff, the Lake Street Safety Coordinator, and an organization that will address substance use disorders. We also talked about Minneapolis Police having office hours there, and then some services that people might not be able to access directly, but behavioral crisis response staff being in the building between calls. And just a reminder that it's not something where people can walk in and just ask to speak with the behavioral crisis response folks.
Thank you, Amanda, again. Can people get assistance in Afaan Oromoo?
We hope to have staff who speak a variety of languages at both of the centers. That was really important to the community. It's especially true at the South Minneapolis Community Safety Center, where we'll have those culturally specific community navigators. But when bilingual staff are not available, the city always has access to provide free interpreter services.
Does immigration status matter to receive services?
We never ask about anyone's immigration status at either of the centers. Any community member who has a need is welcome to seek information or services at the Lake Street or the South Minneapolis Community Safety Center. Even those people who are filing a police report will not be asked about their immigration status.
Thank you again, Amanda. Is there anything else our audience should know?
Yeah, these centers are part of the community safety ecosystem that we're trying to build out, which is, again, a connected network of people and organizations working together to make the community safer and make the people in the community feel safe. There's a lot of work that's happening with that, so you can read more about that, along with our strategies on the city's Safe and Thriving Communities report on our website. We have a lot of work to do with Hennepin County, Minneapolis Parks and Recreation, Metro Transit, the schools, community organizations, and even individual community members. They all make up this ecosystem or this network. So we all have a part to play in the ecosystem. Right now we're really getting organized, which is not very exciting for most people to hear about, but it's really important. We don't want to rush this process. We know that this is important to the city, and we want to make sure that we do this right. We'll be having meetings to coordinate how services are provided. We started by having a meeting in August where some city services, county services, and community organizations got to know each other. And we need to do more of that. We also need to be just more transparent about how effective the safety services are. So we're going to continue collecting data and then sharing that data with community members in a number of different ways. One of those ways is data dashboards that'll be on the website. We also need to ensure that we have all the right services in place and available in the ecosystem. So we shouldn't fund services that are not effective, and we may find that we have to expand other services that are working really well. And we might need to start some new services. We might have gaps where we don't have any services currently, but there's a need. That's actually how the city's behavioral crisis unit was started. The community said there was a need for a different response to mental health crisis. And so we filled that gap by sending out mental health professionals to support people that were having mental health crisis instead of first sending a police officer. Police officers may not be trained to handle those situations. And so we want the best response in the right situation. The best way to find out information about all of this work that we're doing is on the city's website. You can sign up for updates to start learning more about what we're doing. And that can be found at minneapolismn.gov/community-safety-centers or by going to minneapolismn.gov/community-safety-ecosystem.
Thank you for taking your time and joining us today.
Thank you.
We have now come to the end of our segment. Thank you for watching OROMIA11, and don't forget to hit subscribe for more. Be safe until next time.